Yeah, the sequel, Devil Wears Prada 2, came out 20 years after that original movie, brings back the entire cast and the director, David Frankel, as well. You got some new people, Justin Theroux, Lucy Liu is in the movie, along with some cameos from Karl Anthony Towns, Rory McIlroy, Lady Gaga, and a mention of Hugh Jackman, but not seen. So...
I didn't watch it this week. I will see it. I'm really excited. My wife and I we're a little bit busy this week, and we will see it. Mm-hmm. But Cat,
he's at a party
after all this time.
After all that. he was there for some fucking reason. He was there. I don't know. But anyways, this movie takes place 20 years after that original movie. Miranda Priestley's kind of nearing retirement, and Anne Hathaway playing Andy Sachs again. She comes back to work for Runway as the features editor. She's writing stories for them. Emily Blunt's character has kind of moved on. She works for, like, fucking Dior or something. She's doing advertising for them. So, kind of gets the crew back together. Stanley Tucci's still working there. And the positives of Devil Wears Prada 2, it's fun to see everybody back in their roles. And I especially really like Stanley Tucci and Anne Hathaway's characters, Andy and Nigel, together. And especially in this movie, they just have a really good bond of kind of realizing what Miranda Priestley is and being like, yeah, she's kind of a devil in certain regards, but I really like them. And there's some sweet moments between them in this movie. Emily Blunt is really funny in this movie. She gets kind of a little bit more to do here and has her own little subplot, which is nice. And Meryl Streep's always good. I mean, she's not going to give a bad performance, and she rarely does sequels, but this is one that she, obviously came back for, along with Mamma Mia 2 a few years back. So,
have you seen Mamma Mia 2?
It's great. It's better than the first.
It's way better than the first.
Yeah. I'd be down for a third one, too, if they ever want to do that.
Yes,
There's more ABBA songs to dive into, but... Devil Wears Prada 2, very enjoyable. It's a fine movie. I had a okay time watching it, and I appreciate that it's not, on a plot level, the exact same as the first movie.
Right.
They kind of do some different things and bounce around a lot, but that also kind of leads into some of my issues with it, where... kind of like I talked about with Michael last week, where it feels like it's just speed running through things and kind of bouncing everywhere. And it feels weird because a big message of this movie is kind of how, like the first one, the Runway magazine, the physical magazine was such a big thing, but transitioning now into it being all online and on social media, which, like, that's a good way to take this story, and how that's changed and everything. And there's a lot of themes about, holding on to the tradition and keeping the old school things and not giving into, like, AI and social media and stuff like that. But then the movie itself, just on a filmmaking level, even though it was shot on a lot of locations, which I appreciate, and, like, real places, it does have that digital, glossy, artificial look to it, which it's just, there's been so many side-by-sides of the original movie and this one, where it's just the original has the grain, it has, like, texture and... I don't know, like a character within itself almost. And this movie just looks like... It just feels like a Super Bowl commercial sometimes, where all of these characters got back together for like a 30-second ad. And they're like, hey, we're reprising our roles for a second, but we're here. And it's really glossy and bright.
That is a really good comparison, because that's... Not that the trailers have been bad, but that's kind of how the trailers have already felt, of, like, being Super Bowl ads. And, like, just in the look alone, like, granted, trailers are promotional material, but it's just the look of it looks like, within the structure of this film, or the film in its entirety, it does have that kind of sheen over it, of it just looks too smooth, it looks too clean, which, granted, technology evolves and it changes. It's just, it sucks when it's to the detriment of the look or, like, the charm of a film. And I think that might be something that's more of a... I haven't looked into many of the reviews about this movie yet, but that feels like something, like, specific to people that see and watch movies in the way that you and I do. Maybe mass people or mass audiences won't really view it in that way, but hearing that from you, I'm like, oh, okay, I kind of got that a little bit from the trailers and the promo stuff, so I'm like, all right, well, I don't love that already.
It's a common complaint you and I have, especially, like, I think with Freakier Friday, we both talked about that, where it's just like a decades-long sequel that comes out. It's a problem that we both have, but I think general audiences are really going to like this movie, much like Michael last week, where I think it's made, a good first weekend at the box office.
Great. Globally, it made it great. I didn't look at the domestic numbers, but it's already doing really well.
And there's obviously a big fandom for The Devil Wears Prada, and big fan base for it. So I think that people are going to enjoy this movie. It gives you more of the characters, their fun interactions. You get more, if you're into the fashion stuff, you definitely get more of that. You get Lady Gaga performing a song during a fashion show. So like if that's your thing, then you're going to really like it. So it's enjoyable. It's a watchable enough movie. It's fine. It's not one that I can recommend super highly if you're kind of new to this franchise, but there was enough there, especially like I said with Nigel and Andy as characters, and just I love Anne Hathaway, and she is gearing up to be in our end of the year MVP race. She's in a fuck ton of movies.
She's in 5 this year, right? Or
like 3 of them we still haven't seen yet. So we'll see. She's always been really great, and I like seeing her back. It's crazy that she looks just as good as she did in 2006. Yeah. But everyone's still good in the movie. It's enjoyable, just kind of not as strong on a character level and a plot level. It is kind of speed running through a few things, and I feel like kind of, again, not to compare to Michael, but just didn't get to like sit with things as much, because it felt like sometimes movies come out now where it feels like it's part of the TikTok generation, where it's like we need the plot explained in 30 seconds.
We need to move fast.
And then we also need to, if you were on your phone, which a lot of people were on their phone in the theater I was seeing this movie at this morning, really sucked, but if you're on your phone and miss a part, then we need to explain again what happened and say like, oh, Miranda is doing this because of this, and then a scene later we explain it again. So like that sort of thing where it's not to be like the Gen Z thing, but it's kind of like, trust your audience more. Like, yeah. I wish movies would do that more.
And I feel like that's very much a thing with like Hollywood film, or like films made in the United States, or with United States backing and stuff like that. Whereas, like when you see a movie like No Other Choice, a foreign language film, they don't do that. It's just you pick it up as you go.
It was just an accident from last year.
It was just an accident. Yeah. Like they don't look to try and they don't blatantly spell out things. So I think that must be just strictly like a Western, like United States Hollywood kind of issue that hopefully can kind of work itself out. And it makes me think of like Matt Damon with The Rip when he brought that up, and it's just like, God damn it, it's annoying. Granted, I mentioned I haven't seen Devil Wears Prada 2 yet. I'm still really excited to see it. My wife is really excited to see it. The way it feels going into it is kind of how I view Pitch Perfect and Pitch Perfect 2, where I love that first Pitch Perfect. I think it's super charming. I think it's so of its era. It works really well. It just like it fires on all cylinders for me, and it has great character work. I think then you get into that sequel where they're trying to recapture that, and it kind of just falters. Does it look the same? You have the same characters, yes, but like things kind of just fizzle out. And while I still like that sequel, Pitch Perfect is, weirdly enough, a movie that I just love so much and is really special to me. That is like my go-to airline movie. If I'm on an airplane, I'm watching Pitch Perfect.
I think that's our generation's Mean Girls.
Oh yeah, I agree with that, and I really like that movie. But it's kind of my expectation out of this is like, do I at least have a good time? Do I like it? I'm not expecting it to be as good as the first. And from kind of how you've mentioned it or talked about it, I don't think I'm immediately going to assume that I'm going to like it as much as the first. But I'm still, regardless, excited to see it, especially to see Meryl Streep in the role of Miranda Priestley again. I'm really stoked for that. I need more good lines. Are there good lines, or where the first one is so quotable? Granted, that might be because it's so old and we've had time with it. Are there some good quips in this one?
There are. Like I said, Emily Blunt actually has probably the funniest lines for me. There is a fun nature to it. The movie kind of opens with there being a PR crisis at Runway, and like the working conditions at Runway are like questioned in the media and everything. And so Miranda has to kind of have somebody next to her, like not saying and doing things as much, or talking about like the size of models as much, or like there's a scene where, because in the first movie she's tossing her coat obviously at Andy and everything. But in this movie, there's just a funny scene of her like hanging up her coat and then just being out of breath afterwards, being like, wow. Just the first time she's had to do it in like 20 years. So there's things like that, and obviously Meryl's great in the role, but she doesn't have as much of an edge in this movie. She's not kind of the venomous like Miranda Priestley. So it's kind of what I appreciate so much about that first movie is like, you don't really connect with her at all, but then there's one scene where she's talking about getting divorced with Andy, and she's just really like opening up and breaking down, and that's such a like notable scene because then she switches right back after that, and she's like, all right, I need to get back to Miranda Priestley mode. But this movie, there's a lot more of her kind of opening up and being vulnerable, which I guess is character, growth over these movies. But I kind of like the vibe of that first movie where she's just mean to everybody and everyone's cowering when she walks into a room.
Sharp, yeah.
But it's, overall enjoyable. I feel like a lot of movies this year I've kind of given a B grade to, but like this fits in there. It's enjoyable. I think we both had it on our top 10 movies
for the summer
for highest grossing movies. So I think it'll definitely be in there. Just it's kind of a crowd pleasing movie. Pretty fun for any fans of the original too.